Hey guys, it's Kage Tact coming at you today for potentially a very unpopular video, depending on where you guys stand on Guild Wars. So I just wanted to come out, swing, just first get a lot of the stuff, some of the wonkiness out of the way really quickly. And this is probably going to upset some people, but you guys need to hear this. Firstly, Guild Wars, this game, Tacticus, this isn't couch co-op. You know, you and 2 to 5 other people aren't going to be doing Guild Wars. You need 10 people. It doesn't make sense for the mode after playing it, after experiencing it. It does not make any sense at all to try and go in there. You will just get raffle stomped and hoping that you two fight a defunct guild of just a handful of people to get rewards. It's silly. What I'm going to tell you is if you really feel that you just want to play with friends and close family, bring more people in to play the game with you then. If you enjoy the game, you enjoy everything, you guys get a cat here to kind of soften the blow. Do that then. You know, if you've got time and energy to be upset about this mode, you can do some other things. Or you could just do nothing and just grind into the wind, because this game and many other games do not cater to small groups of people when it comes to guild content. The last game we played, you need 10 people. You needed 10 people out of 20 to do the guild battles. They weren't going to let you in with 3. They weren't going to let you in with 5 or 7. You needed 10. Here, I will say that the requirements are a little bit stricter, because in that game anybody could have joined up with anything, and a new player could have joined Guild War after getting through a little bit of the story, and they would have gotten completely decimated by anybody in the game, but they could have joined. But here, you have to factor in that tokens and attacks, they're important. Like, as you can see here, my guys have 41 tokens left, and I'm going to bet you some money that some of them are probably locked on tokens because they've used up all their units to fight. And these are people who are, mid-level 30s. Some of them are like upper 20s. They, even myself at 41 was like, I mean, what can I do with these tokens here? I have to really stretch out what units I have, and I've got a decent amount. So, could you imagine somebody like level 15 trying to do guild attacks with? I mean, how many units does the average level 15 player have? I mean, I don't remember because it's been a while. I mean, I've just gone on. But what would you say? They maybe have, what, 20 units? If even that? So potentially they'd have 20 units, which would be 4 attacks. And how many of them would be above Bronze 1 to really make an impact at that level? So the requirements make sense. I mean, granted, the higher battlefield requirements do have more that you need to fill here to be able to get into. Like this one says that you needed to have, required guild level of 12 and 20 members to participate in Battlefield 5. I didn't know that originally, so that may change my mind on the other video we did, but we'll get into that soon. So now, what can some of you guys do to improve your odds in this mode? I mean, generally, I don't like giving people this sort of advice. I don't, because, one, I'd rather exploit it and get some easy wins, but at the same time, I feel like that at least you guys should know what you're doing and what you're going up against for the rest of you who are into this mode. So to start, the guild I'm fighting here, solo mode. Ran the numbers. I mean, I didn't do it exact. I'd say they're at like 8.7 mil power. We're at like 8.3, 8.4, maybe even a little bit higher now. But I noticed something interesting. Their guild's power disparity, we'll put it, the distribution of power is a lot different, because they've got a couple of members that are like, in the 40s, one guy in the 50s who's got like, let's say, 2.3 mil power. And this is where things get boring, and I do apologize, but this is interesting to me because, that guy who makes up 2.3 mil power, and he's doing Battlefield Level 1, he's not being fully utilized because he can't use his best units here. He does not have any chance to be effective. He doesn't. He's stuck to playing with the same rules. I mean, gold won for the best team. So, I mean, he wasn't very useful. And the composition of his guild, I mean, he had some people under level 20, so they couldn't enter the fight. He had some people, mid-level 20s, mid-level 30s. So, I mean, he had people, and he even had some inactives. So, what I think is going on here is that everybody is being counted into the power threshold. So, your inactives, your low levels, they're all being factored in when going into this mode. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I think it's probably the fairest way to do that kind of matchmaking setup, because if they tried to, I don't know, if they tried to change up the dynamic of the rules, it could end very poorly, and it could end with even bigger mismatches, which the company really didn't see wipeouts as being a normal occurrence. But because of how guilds are managed, I mean, I don't want to pick this poor guy's guild apart and how he does things, but having inactives, having that disparity in levels, it hurt him. It definitely hurt him. And it's weird because, with how our guild is set up, we don't have any real inactives here. We try and keep everybody active. And generally, I mean, I'm the high end of our guild. I'm 41, and I think the low end is one guy at 24. I mean, we have a couple of 20s, and then everybody is, for the most part, in their 30s, and we got 2 or 3 people just hitting level 40. So, I mean, it's very interesting because, again, I thought originally new players, we'd be absolutely, completely devastated. Not what we're doing right here, where we've already wiped out the enemy once. We've got, I mean, the score is 543 to 96K. 543K to 96K. And these are people some of these people have definitely played the game a lot longer than us. So, what would I suggest for you guys? And this is the part where it's going to chap some asses. Kick your inactives. This guild has a guy who's inactive for 200 days. He's not coming back. Kick him. He's going into your matchmaking scale. He's hurting your odds. The lower level people, though, I wouldn't kick them. They're not really hurting your matchmaking as much. I would just try and engage more with them, get them to be at least level 20, because, even if they can't do a lot, just having somebody who can do an extra 10 attacks, it's something. They help out. They can, you can coordinate with them. They can try and chip away at some enemies you weaken something. But, for your lower level people, for your people coming into this game, you want to really try and nurture them and help them out going into this mode, because if they can't participate in the mode, they're like an inactive essentially. They're not doing anything. They're not helping in any way, shape, or form. But on the flip side, they're not heavily weighed against you. Not having like a level 38 or a 43 guy who's hasn't logged in a year, who's getting weighed against you. Now maybe I would say maybe remove inactives from the matchmaking equation, but God forbid that guy logs in all of a sudden, and then there's some real disparity there. So I don't know what the right or wrong answer is with that. But just a brief recap for anybody trying this mode out who is having a bad time or getting steamrolled. Take a look at your roster. Take a look at at what's going on with your guild, and see, hey, do we need to like kind of restructure here? Do we need to remove some people? And people are going to be like, well, I just play this game casually. Okay, fair, but if you're a casual player, you really can't complain too much when you get paired against an organized group, because even an organized group on the lower end is going to be able to punch up a lot against guilds that haven't kind of taken a look at things and haven't cleaned house. Because again, in all honesty, if this guild had a couple more people and they didn't have the inactive or two that they're dealing with, this would be a lot closer fight right now. So this, I can't say this is a snowprint problem. I can't. I as much as I'd like to be like, yeah, they really botched matchmaking. No, the numbers are pretty in line. So, and from the other data I'm getting from other people as well, from what they've sent me over, matchmaking seems to be pretty fine tuned. So technically, if we all did go to Battlefield level 5, we'd all be getting more rewards. So I think that is true. But when you see that currently the amount of people in Battlefield level 5 is 271, some poor soul, I think I know this guy on Discord, the poor guild who ended up getting like the odd man out situation, being that that one in the 271, that's rough. That's rough. But I don't know. Maybe even doing level 2 for some people would be vastly better. I myself, I'll probably stick to level 1. I know it's less rewards, but it's I'm pretty unlucky when it comes to matchmaking. After I make videos like this, I would get like the worst bracket in the world. So I'd rather be at level 1 where I have some control than having to deal with being vastly outgunned and outmaneuvered. Now, another thing people bring up is leadership not being able to start the game, start participate in the war. I really think there should be some button for people who are not leader or co-leader to ping your guild leader and let them know you want to do war, so that they can go in and touch that button. I don't know how you would set that up, maybe as a notification, or maybe an in-game message that they would get spam somewhere when they open up the guild, to let them know, and to also show that, hey, you've got people in the guild who are interested in this, because some of these people, they've been in these guilds for months, maybe even a year, and the guild leader just, for whatever reason, did not set up the war, forgot to, didn't have a co-lead who could do it. So there needs to be something done there. There definitely needs to be something taken care of to help with that, because again, people shouldn't be missing out on this mode if they have the numbers and if they want to do it. Obviously the alternative is, if I was in that situation, I would have jumped ship on the guild, or I would have taken as many people who wanted to do the mode and got into another guild or something, or set up a new guild. But that's a lot of work and that's a lot of effort, and people don't want to do that in a phone game. People just want to play, and that's another thing I get about this mode. A complaint that I will say can be valid is there can be a lot of work and preparation put into this mode to do well. But counterpoint is, you could just play the mode, and win or lose, you still get some good rewards. So don't worry about losing. Like, let's look at the winner to loser reward box here. Okay, winner box that we'll get for this one: 12K, 12K XP book. One badge is going to be legendary, and then we've got a common to epic and a common to rare badge. All right, what does the loser get? They get 8K, so 4K less gold, 3 2500 XP books, so about 5K less XP. They get common to rare in the badges, and then epic to legendary on the badge. That's still not bad. I mean, Yeah, I know everybody wants to win. I mean, I'd like to win every match. I'd like to clean house and get a lot of cool rewards. But that's still not bad. So don't worry about losing. If your guild isn't super, crazy into this, and this mode upsets you, just play the mode. You know, or if you don't want to play the mode, I don't know what to tell you. Find another guild or make your own guild at this point, because if you don't play the mode at all, you're dragging your guild down and you're hurting them, and you're hurting other people who want to do the mode. And I I don't like being the guy to tell you to do this, but yeah, go do your own thing then, because people do want to win, and if you don't want to participate, you're hurting their odds to win. And maybe they could win with you, but this mode is intensive. This mode is going to test people. I still need to bronze one more units up. I still need to work on getting some units. I mean, I'm sitting there like attack number 6 of 10, and I'm like, well, what do I have left to use? I mean, I'm throwing jelly beans at their defenders over here, trying to like have something stick. I mean, if this team didn't have so many bots, I think this would have been a lot closer of a matchup. I mean, would we still have beaten them pretty soundly? Maybe, but yeah. So I think that's about everything I wanted to get off my chest with this mode. I may have missed a thing or two, but this was kind of like an impromptu. I've got to, talk about some stuff here, because again, there are some things about this mode again, like making sure the guild leader can register people, and making sure that you guys also understand what you're getting into for the rarity. Which, if you don't have an active guild leader or co-leader, there's no way you're going to be able to find out what to do. And there is one more point I wanted to bring up, and this was somebody said, well, we should have some recommendations for what battlefield levels to do. Well, that's where a guild leader or a co-leader has to look at their guild, take a look at the levels, see what people have, ask some questions, and look at each battlefield level. Like, hey, battlefield level 3, can we do that rarity cap? Is everybody able to fill the top bar and then fill the 4 bars below it? No? Well, let's look at 2. Instead, it's like, well, we had no idea what to do, so we did level 4, we did level 3. It's like, but the information was there, and you could have looked at it in game. So I can't feel sorry for you. It's just one of those things where if you don't apply any effort and you get smacked around, don't blame the game mode. Don't say the game mode's bad. Just realize that you needed to put a little bit more effort into it, which, I mean, if I had seen a bit more of this earlier, I probably would have done an in-depth video to help some of you guys out. But I wanted to be surprised by this mode, and I was surprised. Again, I thought we would be face down in the mud right now, just completely devastated, completely just outclassed, outmatched. But with how the mode is structured, with how things are, I could say, I think Battlefield level 1, 2, and 3, you're going to have a decent time. You're going to have some decent matchups. Battlefield 4 and 5, if if you are fighting on the higher end, I have seen some very deadly compositions of teams, and it's like, yeah, given the current structure, I don't know if there's a good way to beat some of those teams out there. What are those teams, you might ask? I'm not going to tell you, because I do not like the idea of people copying those teams. Because right now the strategy would be go around it and hit something else. But if three different groups of people use that same team composition on front lines, there is no going around it, and that's evil. I don't see it being as much of a problem again in the lower brackets, but in the higher brackets, when you could have units over 10k HP and they've got regen, and yeah, that's rough. That's gonna be interesting, but I think that's about it. I think we've touched on everything here. I mean, so far I'm liking the mode. There is supposed to be some sort of difficulty slider as we go, since we've won here today. I'm curious to see what we get matched up with tomorrow. I'm very curious to see if it's another guild kind of similar to this one where it's a bit disheveled, and because again, if this guild was the same amount of activity and a bit more of, I don't know, a power ratio split to the users, this might have been a lot closer of a fight. But it's really hard to say. So again, I'd reiterate, anybody who's running this mode as a guild leader, if you've got people who haven't logged in over like 2 weeks or a month, they've never said anything to you, and they're high levels, they're gonna hurt your matchmaking. They are going to cause you guys some grief. Get rid of them. Got them. If they come back to the game, welcome them back. But I wouldn't keep those people around. And again, if you've got people under level 20, encourage them to get level 20. Incentivize them. Ask them, hey, do you need any items for an upgrade? Do what you can to nurture those new people, because one, they're an extra 10 attack tokens, and two, they're somebody who's currently actively playing the game and sticking with you. So nurture your tomatoes. Do what you got to do. And with that, I think we're done here. I could lose some subscribers on this. I'm fully aware of that. If you do want to support the channel, once we get to 1K, I will make sure we get some in-game codes going for the channel. So please do help out with that. If you made that this far in the video and you don't want to kill me, well, you like this mode. Anywho, take care, guys.